point. Sending, sending, sending. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Looks like we are live on Facebook, waiting for YouTube to connect. And we are live on YouTube. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Kat, owner of KatsCreationsNMore, and today we're working on a new design for 2025, as well as dealing with all the challenges that this one has presented. So before I get started, let me just make sure, just because this is what I have come to learn, that when you think things are working, they may not be all working correctly. So I always like to just double check on the platforms and actually see that I am in fact live. Let me also, we're good there. I'm going to enable chat so we can see everything. Hi, Joan. Hi, Linda. So, let me show you what we're working with today. So, I got this sign in about a month ago. So, let me show it up close to you so you can see that clearly. This is a gorgeous, it's like a marble looking sign. It's got gold around the outside, obviously white letters that say the believe part. When I hold it up, it looks more bluey purple, but it's not. It's more grayish green with the gold threads going through it. So I was thinking, no problem. I probably have a Deco mesh that'll go right along with that. I pulled out every single roll of blue Deco mesh I had, nothing matched. I pulled out every single color of green, nothing matched. I pulled out every single color of gray I had, nothing matched. I pulled out a cream and gold. It looked hideous. And so I'm like, okay, what do we do here? A, making the understanding that I'm dealing with a tertiary color. So tertiary means it's in between. So it's not blue, it's not green, it's not purple, it's not gray. It's going to be a shade or two in between there, which means you're never going to get a perfect match unless you made the sign and you could dye your Deco mesh the same color. So, darn it, I had really looked forward to doing this in like blue and white, but you're going to be surprised at what we're going to do instead because it really pulls off the look. You can get the sign, which is a 12.5 by 6 at Craft Outlet, and I did check. They have quite a few available, so if you'd like to order those, that's where you can get that. What else? Chat is on. Hi, Georgiana. She said, just got home in time to catch me live. Hi, Twyla. Welcome from North Idaho. So, what else do I have to say? Oh, if you want to save a copy of this video and you're on YouTube, just click the save button. If you are on Facebook, you will want to click the share button. It'll do a quick copy paste from my Facebook page to your Facebook page. Just make sure you download that within 30 days. Otherwise, that video is gone, even though you have, quote, saved it. Just make sure that you have officially downloaded it to your computer. What else? Notifications. Love it if you guys would comment, click the emoticons, subscribe to my channel. If you're on Facebook, hit the heart, hit the like, hit the happy face, hit the crying face, hit anything. It's like all of that works towards a digital creator's bonus. It's like the more of those you get, then the wider range that the content platform will open that up and give it a show availability to more people. So like right now, it's only showing the content to about 10% of the base. If we could do just comment, like, thumbs up, whatever, the more we do it, once it gets to that 10% of the people that are on, it'll crack it open, give it to another 10%, and so on and so forth. So even if you make no purchase from any of your favorite digital content providers, because I do this when I go to the people I watch, heart. That's all I'm doing while I'm like watching them, because I know what that does to the algorithm, and that helps them sometimes more than, you know, making that initial purchase. So If you guys could do that today, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, private group is available to those of you that would like to join my creative design and coaching class. You can do that on my website, which is KatsCreationsNMore.com. I will type this in so you guys can see it on all of the platforms. So let me do this. Hi, Betty. She says, it's been a long time since I caught you live, and I'm glad I caught you today. That's where having notifications will definitely benefit you. That I know we all get busy, and I love that notifications has been a huge lifesaver for me. Sometimes people go, how do you find out about all these things? I turn my notifications on because I always keep my phone with me. You know, you never know. As we get older, it's kind of good to keep a communication device with you. You never know when you'll need it. And so getting notified when things happen is how I know. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. I'm going to pivot you down. We're going to go ahead and get started. Here we go. There we go. Trying to bring that down pretty smooth. I think I got it a little too far. Hang on. It always wobbles. Trying to get my husband to fix the wobble. Okay, that's good. Because I always like you to be able to see these numbers down here, not these numbers up here. Okay, 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. That's going to be our base for our sign. We've got to finish wiring this one together. I've done the first 5 sections. So we're going to do the last one together. We're taking a white pipe cleaner. I know you guys are thinking, she's using white. We're going to go ahead and wire together the 2 inside. And I like to be fairly generous on my pipe cleaners to make sure that I got equal amounts on both sides. So I don't have like one short, one long, because then that means I don't have the capacity to put a bunch of stuff in there. And then we're going to do the outside 2, wire them together. This gives you more stability. You don't need glue to glue your pipe cleaners in place if you wire together 2. So we're going to do the same on the outside. Again, I make sure that it's like shoelaces. Making sure my shoelaces are even. And I'm going to do one on the other side. So when I'm doing the first 2, the ones in the middle, I'm using my welds that divide each section. I use that just to kind of find a midway point. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to break out the ruler and do that. And then when you do the outside 2, use your weld in that center and kind of find a halfway point. For those of you, they're about 3 inches apart. So you could move all of your, on the outside anyway, 3 inches apart on the outside. The insides are just right to the center. That is all good to go. We are not using white. I know it seems contradictory. We are using gold. We are going to pop that gold marbling through that color as well as the border around the outside and really elevate this look. So we are doing 20-inch pieces cut with the wood burning tool. So this is a 10-inch piece of Deco mesh cut to 20-inch pieces. We're going to do ruffles because I have some ideas for what I want to put on here. Got to see if it'll work. You know, it's so much easier when you're designing by yourself because you can just build it, you know, as you would like. When you're doing it live, you know that you've got people on the other side of that are like, hey, hurry up, move on. Okay, we got that. You're putting those in. Move on, next step. But it's when you're doing it by yourself, I can walk around my shop, look for a different color ribbon. Here I've got to kind of have everything handy, and I try to pre-cut it all as a respecter of your time. So we are just going to picture an imaginary line right up the center. We're going to pull these towards us in. They're like 1/2 inch increments till I get them all gathered. This is the ruffle technique, also known as the bow tie or the scrunch, and I am doing the inside ones. The inside 6 first. So I put the finished edge facing the middle and to the outside. And I'm going to give these a couple twist, twist, twists. I'm going to take these out because I am no longer going to use those. Tuck those back to the inside. Forgot this one. I had to have my husband actually come out and help me find the ribbon that I had ordered to go with this side. And just before we went live, I was like, sometimes when you go to Craft Outlet's website, they have, if they sell the sign, sometimes they'll put together a wreath that'll look really good with that sign. You know, colors and all the things. So you can kind of get an idea of how that looks. And I was like, I want to see what they did, if they did one. And lo and behold, they did. But it was just plopped right on a boxwood wreath. Just plain old green boxwood. And I thought, wow, okay. So I'm not the only one who found that challenging. So I love to be challenged. So we'll see how this one works. It'll either work or it won't. So I like to make sure that these are all spread out. I know some of you will think that this is a pancake method. It is not. The difference between this is, number one, if we were doing pancake, we would start with the bottom level first, and we would only use 6 on the bottom. This one has 12 on the bottom and 6 on top, so it's 18 pipe cleaners, whereas a pancake only uses 12 pieces of Deco mesh. And I guess I could have done that, but I really wanted Ruffles. And I thought if I design this correctly, it could be a multi-use. So that's kind of where I'm going with that thought process a little bit. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Karen. Hi, Linda. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Tenna. I have not seen you before. Are you a newbie? And Robin, hello, welcome. Love having you guys join me. Also, if you guys can hit the share, if you were either on Facebook or YouTube, that is a huge bonus too. Even if you just hit share and then later delete it. Again, it's working with an automated system that only shows your content to people based on how many people are on it or how many people are interacting with you. Okay, we've got one more that we're going to do to the inside. This is a wide foil gold metallic. So I love the wide foil. It's a lot thicker than just your regular gold metallic, and I think the only difference is price. Is like 70 cents a roll. I think it's $4.25 for just a regular gold, and if you bump it up to the wide foil, I think it's like $5.95, or not $5.95, $4.95, which is great because you get a more metallic look because your foil is whiter. So I like to open these up, tuck that one all the way back inside. And so now we're going to work the outside ones. So I'm going to pull the 2 in each section to the outside. These are going to lay right over the top of these so that each middle piece on top fits in between the 2 on the outside. Let's see. To move. Go the wrong way. Hi, Karen. A different Karen. She says you watch a lot, but you just don't catch the live. No worries. Hi, Jane. Karen says, love the color. And gold can be a hard color to match because you can get 2 different tones. You can get a gold that is a little bit more brown based. You can also get one that's a little lighter, has a little bit more white to it. So this is your deep, dark, what I would call authentic gold. And let's go in. You've used it on a wreath you're working on right now. What are you working on, Twyla? She says, I've used this mesh on a wreath that I'm working on right now. And it's funny because I even had a blue border mesh that had bands of gold in it. And I thought, okay, this is it. Nope, not. And that's the thing, right? If we're ordering our Deco mesh online, how in the heck are we supposed to get the right color that is going to match what we're looking at? Because I could have sworn that I had something in my Deco mesh stash that would have easily fit that. But no. And I'm even looking at, like, what if I went with the lighter color or the darker color? But no match. Twyla says, a thankful and blessed orange and gold Thanksgiving wreath. Oh, nice. Roseanne, the Deco mesh is cut at 20-inch pieces. It's a 10-inch Deco mesh, so that using those on the 18 pieces I have, or 18 pipe cleaners, it will only use one roll of Deco mesh, and you will probably have very little left, like maybe an inch or two. And so you can tell that I'm keeping my pipe cleaners right to the outside, so that when we get ready to come in with our ribbons, they're all going to have homes to go into. Hi, Pam. Tracy says, I have something I'd like to send you. Is there a place I could send it? Send me an email at info@KatsCreationsNMore.com, and then I can respond to you. Okay. Opening. Readjusting. I like to take the edges of my Deco mesh and just kind of fold those over, because that is where it is likely to fray, based on, you know, moving your Deco mesh around. You are so welcome. Rosanna says, I like your method of pushing the mesh on the frame. What do you like about it? And I've done it a couple different ways. There's sometimes where I do a method I call the next one, which means I'm just going to take Deco mesh and I just place it inside each pipe cleaner as I come to them. So if it's an outside, it goes outside. If it's inside, it'll go inside. And that way you can kind of see the entire thing being built in its fullness. Okay. Trying to separate these two so I can pull that out and pull the one adjacent to it out. How's hubby? He is actually doing really, really well. So he's had a procedure, and it's a fairly new procedure. We had never heard of it before, for people who need to have knee replacement surgery. The ones that have bone on bone, and you have lost all that cushion in between your upper and lower bones on your knee. So his doctor recommended what's called a gel injection, where they inject a gel into your knee, and it's the same material your body makes naturally, in hopes that it'll, over a series of 3 injections, so it's a week apart, that your body will respond and like you have cushion back between your knees again. So first week, not so hot. Second week, he was in a lot of pain when he came out, but his doctor did give him some pretty strong anti-inflammatories. So the anti-inflammatories are working so well that he doesn't have to take pain meds to get through the, you know, the uncomfortableness of having spacers put in between your knee that, you know, your body's gotten used to not having any gap there. And so you're basically increasing the gap with each injection. So he's done really, really well, but he cannot be on those for a very long period of time because of his heart. So, but he's loving life right now, not being in any kind of pain. So I was like, well, that's good. Just make sure you communicate with your doctor and make sure you're doing all of the right things. You said, Charlotte says, that sounds exciting. My son had knee surgery last month. How'd that work out? And you know what's so great about social media is so many of you came online when I had shared that, and there's people who had had the procedure, talked to, left comments about how that worked out for them. Some people it was a yay, other people was like, nah, it didn't help. I gave that information to him, which was very encouraging. And so he's like, okay, so I know that if I do these series and it does nothing for me, then my next logical source, the only option he'll have left besides dealing with pain, will be knee replacement surgery on both his knees. Oh, he's still in a little bit of pain? I think, how soon did he have, oh, you said last month, so little bit of pain. So would your son say that the pain is worth having the surgery? Because my husband's known so many people who have had knee replacement surgery and it just made their problem worse. And so that's what he fears. He's like, I don't want to make it worse. If this is as good as it's going to get, then I'd rather learn how to cope with this is as good as it's going to get for me without putting myself through a surgical procedure only to have it be made worse. And now he's living with a worse pain than he had before. Because he has a pretty physical job. He can't say that yet. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, we've got 2 more pieces to get squished in here. And you can see that as I'm adding these outside pieces now, it is creating a thickness, a little bit darkening of the color. So I've got that one, and then this one to squeeze in. Okay, 2 more. I'm praying this comes out good. Because I was like, okay, I should know better. But I legitimately thought, I have something that'll go with this. I was tempted to pull out every single color of Deco mesh that I had, just to show you. Okay, look, I went with this color, and I went with this color, and no. It just, and you would be able to noticeably tell when you hold it up to the sign, you're like, nope, too blue. Nope, too turquoisey green. Nope, definitely too light, too dark. So, and then I went to the greens, and then I went to the grays. And then I was like, we'll do, I think had I had maybe white with gold in it, maybe, but I liked the way of using gold as the base because it really makes the sign pop. And I'm kind of not using blue at all in anything. I have some round balls that are the right color, and I literally took those around looking for ribbon in my entire shop. Nothing matched, not even one ribbon, which is crazy. So the sign's gorgeous. Just understand if you get it, it's going to be a challenge. Okay, so there is our base. This should be about 24 to 25 inches. It sits right at 25 from Deco mesh edge to Deco mesh edge. And you know that I measure from the edges because when I put my ribbons on the outside 12, I make sure those end at the same length our Deco mesh does. So look what it does to the sign. Ooh, that's going to be hard to see. There we go. Still kind of hard to see because you can't see the marble tones. Let's see if we go up. Still not really seeing it. It's kind of different. I wish I could say, here it is, but I have some funky, weird, the fluorescents don't do it much justice, but I can tell you this, it looks really great. And I wish it would just pick it up. So let's look at what are we using for ribbons on here. Lots of gold and cream. So, and you can see already the different colors. This is more of a yellowish brown gold, whereas this would be your true gold. So I am using a glitter 1.5" cut to 19 inches with a nice, it's kind of like a little snowflake pattern with a little bit of mesh, a little bit of polka dots at the bottom. Hobby Lobby for this one. Shinoda Design Center for the gold glitter, but you can also find that at Craft Outlet. The bottom one, the 2.5 is cut to 14 inches, so that is the pair. And then I am pairing this gold foil on the outside, and it's white velvet on the inside. And I'm pairing that, probably one of the most expensive ribbons I bought. This is actually a marbled ribbon, and it is fused, so it could be gold on one side, marble on the other, with the nice veins of gold marble going through here. So those are going together, 1.5 inches, all cut to 19 inches, 2.5s cut to 14. Craft Outlet, Shinoda, Hobby Lobby for those. So now we're going to go ahead and put those around the outside, alternating each pairing. So you'll need 6 pieces of each. So I like to fold my 1.5 inches in half so I can see right where true center is going to be. Gonna pop that right on the inside. Gonna gently fan this one out because not only is it wired on the outside, it is also infused right here on the inside so that you can have that really pretty mesh center. If I pull too hard, it will separate this section of my ribbon. So I want to be really super careful when I'm doing that. Now taking the gold glitter, making the dovetailed ends match, going up about 2 inches. I'm going to gather it in, placing that right on the inside. Couple twists. Going to open this up. I'm like trying to think. I don't have anything going in the outsides of these, so I'm going to remove the excess, take that little stump, kind of tuck it all the way behind so that when I open this, you can no longer see the pipe cleaner. I have to right side one leg of my ribbon, just like so. I like to make sure I can see both in there if I can make it. Just like that, so you can see both being displayed. And then we're going to move over to the other side. Thank you. What did it look like with natural burlap? Wrong kind of look, I think, Cheryl, for what I was going through with burlap. It kind of feels more primitive, more country. And with this being more marble, it was kind of like, I felt like it had to have metallic in it at some point. Definitely like a higher end look. So that was also one of the reasons why I opted not to use birch bark ribbon, because the birch bark, it just didn't have the same look. So we're doing the same thing, up 2 inches, gather that inside, place that right in here, couple twists, remove the excess. I'm gonna go ahead and drag that around the back so that when I open my loop, and then I'm gonna right side. Mine's always the left leg of my ribbon. So I'm just making sure that everything is visible. And you can kind of pick and choose, hey, what do you really want to focus on with your design? So mine is, I want the attention going right to the sign. in this particular design. So I felt that if I focused on the gold, it would pull that out. That's what I'm hoping for. We won't know until we get all the way to the end. Okay, same thing again. Doing our half bows, so 2 inches up. Tuck this in, because I already had like the birch bark ribbon already cut. It was kind of like a cream, a gold, and like a light beige. But I was like, something's just not feeling. Like even trying to do bow materials, I was like, it doesn't, this little baby fly is driving me crazy. Because we opened up the shop last night because it was so warm in here when we got home. And sadly, I'm going to have to get some sort of hanging fly trap, because I don't know why they come down, but they should be going up. The flies should be going up. And I can't open my shop doors right now because our neighbors have some pretty aggressive bees, and lately they've been swarming around the front of my shop. So like yesterday when I was doing my live, my husband was like, I had to kill 3 bees that were in your shop while you were doing live, because they were that aggressive. And he's like, watch when you come outside. He's like, that's why I can't have you leave the door open. They're just too aggressive right now. So, I don't know. I think we just have a really aggressive hive this year. That our neighbor, he has an arrangement with a beekeeper to keep hives on his property during the spring in exchange for honey. But what it does for us, because we have a really big orchard with all these fruit trees, it's great if they come out during the right time, then they help with the pollination. But this year they were late, and now they've just become more of a nuisance than anything. They're hoarding all of our chickens' water because the beekeeper is not coming out and making sure that his water source for his bees is kept full. So they flock to the water source our chickens have. And our chickens won't go near the bees. So we have to like move the chickens' water to a totally different source and then kind of leave the one that's established there so that they won't swarm everything else. Alicia, you're allergic to bees? I thought I was until I got my first bee sting this year, which was not fun. I would never want to get stung again, but I got it while I was gardening. But again, it's because of our aggressive bees our neighbor has. You had trouble seeing the marbling in the pic? Yeah. So what about the picture that's on the website? I think you can see it there. It just doesn't come up well on the video portion. And it's just because of the lighting that is overhead. It's a fluorescent, so when I see it, it looks the way it is. But then when I'm looking at it, showing it to you on camera, I'm like, that's not how it looks at all. So again, making sure. Just kind of doing this one a little higher end with the metallics. I think we're almost halfway. I think with this ribbon or the next, we'll be at our halfway point for the exterior ribbon. And this ribbon that I'm doing right now with the velvet, it is a very thick tinsel strength, which means that if I gather it, it doesn't want to unpucker from its gathered point. So I have to just like really work with it to get it to lay down. But I ordered the marble ribbon to go with the sign. And it's expensive ribbon. It's like any of the double-sided fused ribbon is very expensive. But I guess especially if you have this marble tone. And I have a marble ribbon with gold veins in it, but it's not wired. I did not know that when I got it. I thought it was wired all the way through, but it is not. Okay. Georgiana, she said, I am so glad the beekeeper next to us retired and moved. We are tired of bee poop on my cars and stuff outside. Now I can hang my laundry outside. Oh, I can so hear that. Cheryl says, is there someone you can call to report the bees? We can just call our neighbor and let him know. Because he's only here. He's just like, that's his vacation home. So he's only here for, like the weekend, and then he leaves. So we've already complained to him once and told him that the bees are being very aggressive this year. We can't be out on our back patio at all because they're swarming our pond. They're swarming all of our water sources, our hummingbird feeders, everything. And so the only thing our neighbor did is come out and put out a bucket of water. And I'm like, bees won't drink from a bucket. They slide on the sides, so they're not going to risk their lives for a drink of water. They'll find a different water source. So that's where we're at with the bees. And I was like, right now, they're not pollinating anything. They're just a nuisance. Yeah, it is. They're basically abandoned. Right. I mean, even people who are professional beekeepers know that, you know, you've got to go out and add water to your hive because they have little bottles that they fill up with water. And when it's really hot, you know, the bees need more water. And it has been extraordinarily hot here this year. And so there's been no one out there. I couldn't even make it to our forest today because they were swarming the edges of our forest so bad. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, I can't walk to the forest anymore. We have about 10 trees deep of different pine trees at the end that border the back part of our property. And so the bees are actually right next to all of the pine trees on our neighbor's side yard. Nowhere near the front of his house. So there's that. The beekeeping saga continues. I'll be glad when the temperatures start dropping and then he'll come collect his bees because they can't be out in the rain and all the things. Hoping that happens very soon. Okay, finishing up the last couple combos here. Oh, thank you, Alicia. She says, you always choose beautiful ribbon that goes together. I have trouble with that. So it took me an hour to prep everything today before the live. And that was not just cutting Deco mesh. Deco mesh cutting is like 10 minutes, done. It's matching all the ribbon. And so I had probably 20 rolls of ribbon out here looking and trying to match something that would go through here. And I'm like, so do I want this to be Christmas themed? Do I want it to be, could be used for Christmas, but it could also be used for other things. So I chose to go with the other things. Christmas slash, you could probably use it at Easter too. But I love this ribbon. And this ribbon was from Shinoda Design Center, which is in Southern California. It is a wholesaler. And this is my last little remnant that I have left of this. So I was like, oh, it's kind of good. We can use it with the really fancy marble ribbon. She said there's probably somebody I can report that to. It's kind of like it, yes and no. We don't want to like burn bridges with our neighbors. You know, it's like, hey, we've already told you once. So I was telling Steve, I'm like, well, hopefully in a couple more weeks, we'll hit October 1st. The rain should start kicking in. The temperature should drop. And it should be time for the beekeeper to come get his bees. And so hopefully that'll end that. Okay, 2 more sets. Let's open those up. Wow. Okay, I'm going to try to put this one right in front. Sometimes I have to redirect my ribbon, and I think this is where I was adding that last piece. It just needs to kind of get redirected so that I can see both at the same time. And so they'll actually lay flat as well. And I've been very careful to make sure that my mesh, when I'm putting them in, all goes to the bottom. So you can see it's much thicker on the top than on the bottom. Okay, last one of these going in. I'm going to put a nice gorgeous bow on here. We'll add our sign. And I'm like, I have a couple things that we could use for embellishments. I had to wait and see till we actually build it, whether or not that's going to be something that works or not. So we'll see. There's a Beekeepers Association. Judy, I can check into that. I might have my husband just personally make the phone call to our neighbors and say, hey, is there a way that you can have that guy come get his bees? I just kind of feel like at this stage of the game, we have bugged enough to do it. And I found out, Steve thought that there was only 40 hives back there. There's 80. So when I went back there today, he's like, so did they bring back more bees? And I said, no, there's still 80. And he goes, well, when I went out there, there was only 40. And I said, no, on each pallet is 4 hives that face you, but there's also 4 on the back side that don't. So there's 80 per pallet, or 8 per pallet, and there's 10 pallets. So there are 80 hives back there. And somebody's got an aggressive, one of the hives is pretty aggressive. And I think they know it because they were here, I think they were here yesterday mowing our neighbors. And I think they made the hive mad because they were just they were swarming everywhere on the property yesterday. And I was like, I wonder if they like hit the hive or bumped it while they were trying to water or something, but they made him mad. So always making sure that that marble ribbon faces outward so that I have all of the marble tails out. Sometimes we just have to redirect. And I need to get this one under. There we go. Okay. So there's that. I know it looks weird because we have like all this in the middle and it looks really bizarre. So even when I add this to the center, it kind of looks weird because there's still so much gold here, so much gold here. We are definitely going to kind of do this at an angle to kind of take a portion of the top away and then put our bow down here at the bottom so that it'll take up the rest of the space. So that is our plan. So we're going to make the bow right now using the Bowdabra. She's like, they're going to hurt someone or some farm animal. I agree. But in all honesty, the people behind where the bees are, there's not much. There's not many people living back there. So, literally, this is when I told you I had very little left. That's all I have of that ribbon. So we're using this. We're using our Hobby Lobby wide 2.5. So those are the 2.5 inch ones that we're doing. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some birch bark sheer. So it's going to be very light. So it's still going to allow the gold to come through. And then I'm going to flip these like this because I was like balancing all these going, okay, what can we do to try to get all the colors? So white with gold Swiss stop. Here's our gold that we have. Here's our marble. Craft outlet for the marble. Craft outlet for the gold Swiss dot on white. Shinoda was the gold. Craft outlet for the birch bark. Hobby Lobby, and then Shinoda. So I'm going to move these to the side, and we're going to start with these. I'm going to start with the thickest ribbon so it'll create the greatest base. So we're going to dovetail, which means take the wired edges, put those together, and you're going to cut from the folded side to the wired end. So depending upon how high up you come will determine how deep your V is. Like that one's really shallow. I like mine to be a little bit more noticeable. So destination's already there. I just want to come up a little bit higher so that I have a more in-depth little V on my ribbon. That's just my preference. So we're doing 10 inches. We're going to gather in. I'm going to twist this. Going to go ahead and place that right on the inside. It's going to struggle because of these thick bands of wired ribbon. We're going for 5.5 inch loops. So I'm going to line this up on my 10 inch line so that I can see this. So that when I stretch this out, it needs to end at 5.5. And we're right there. Going to do the same up and over. Do a little twist. Line up. Stretch it out. We're good. And then we need to get this back out to 10 inches. And then dovetail again. Just like so. So that is probably, and it's sad because I look at ribbon like that and I'm like, I don't have enough to ever do like one of these. I don't have enough to use it as ribbon tails because there won't be enough. Even if I got 3 out of it, still wouldn't be enough. The only reason I keep it is so I can try to find something similar and then I can throw it away. So this is from Hobby Lobby. Same thing, dovetailing the ends. Have to be really careful on this one when we go to do the twist. This is going to be 9.5. So gather, twist, place that right on the inside, and we're doing 5 inch loops. So as we come up and over, we want 5 inches now. Go away, fly. Okay, there's that. Sometimes I just want to get a chameleon. just have him here. Just so you could just zap all the bugs. There we go. But that's what you get when you live in the middle of the forest, and if you open your doors, you're gonna bring the outside in. So 9.5 with 5-inch loops for this one. There's that. As a family with multiple beekeepers, they shouldn't be aggressive unless their queen is dead or sick. That hive will eventually need moved for the sake of the other hives. That's what I was thinking, Brittany, because I watch a lot of the beekeeper videos because I think it's amazing when they have to go out and relocate them. But I was telling my husband, I'm like, either the queen has gotten aggressive and they've just turned into an aggressive hive and they need to replace the queen, or like you said, there's something up with the queen and they need to see if the hive will accept a less aggressive queen after removing the aggressive one and see what ends up happening. So this is going to be 9 inches. You can see it's very sheer. So when we place that on top of the gold, it's going to allow the gold to come through the top. And we're doing 4.5-inch tails. So stretched out, same thing, up and over, back over here, making sure we're at 4.5. And then back out to 9. Dovetail on this one. And I like the birch bark on this one because it's not really winter, so to speak. So it doesn't say like, ooh, I am winter. Okay. Oh. I was like, what happened to the pin? And I was like, I just opened that. It doesn't have a pin yet. Here is our gold. And this is going to be 8.5 inches. And if you like this bow recipe of mine, you can actually get it sent to you free of charge by going to my website. Go about halfway down the page. When you get there, you'll see like sign up for my email newsletter, and it sends you the bow making recipe and the video link to how to make this exact recipe, which is why I use it all the time. It's because I already know automatically what size bow this will be, and if I want it to be the same size that I'm looking for, that's the one that works for me. Like if I wanted longer tails, I can alternate the recipe and just allow for it to have longer tails but keep the loops the same. Okay, push those over. We're doing our Swiss dot, which is going to be 8 inches. I think I forgot to tell you these are 4.5-inch loops with an 8.5-inch tail. And this will be an 8-inch tail with 4-inch loops. Right? If something isn't done, they'll have to rescue the beekeeper. You know, I think they only move the hives at night when all the bees are in. That's what I'm thinking. Because how else can they ensure that all their bees go back into the hive? Wait till they go in at night and then move them. I'm looking forward to it because until they brought all the bees, we hardly had any, which was a concern for us this spring because we were thinking, well, what's going to happen with our orchard? You know, we're not seeing a natural bee increase. And our last ribbon is our marble. So this has really thick wire on the outside because it is double fused, meaning it has a ribbon on one side, ribbon on the other. So we're doing 7.5 inch tails, 3.5 inch loops. I'm going out a little bit more. And because this one's so thick, I'm like holding it down while I press it into the bow dabra. And then 7.5 out, right there. And there's that. And it's funny, I have like gold pipe cleaners, but they're yellow gold. I don't like them. Like to put it in on this one. So we're going to use white, which is why I use white pipe cleaners. I'm going with the cream color. I am depressing this, relocating my hand positions or finger positions so I can drop my pipe cleaner in, and then I'm just going to crisscross at the back, hold it, and then flip the whole stack like that. Now we're going to fluff it. And this will be a downward bow, which is good. We've been doing downward bows quite a bit. So I'm going to take my C-hook and loop all of my, trying to get all my ribbon in there. Okay. But let's just pull all these down. There's that. Do the same here. Gotta flip that over. It's a bit of a challenge because it's got the hook in the way. Okay, so all of our tails are at the bottom. We're going to start at the top and we're going to lift the top two, and we're doing a crisscross to create a visual interest. So the eye looks at the bow because it's off. It's not the same. I've got it opposing views on either side. I'm going to leave the gold in the center, but I'm going to bring the birch up. And then here, I'm going to bring the gold up, but leave the birch in the center. So that's that crisscross look. And then at the bottom, I'm going to bring our gold up and leave this one below. And then here, we're going to bring this up and bring this one to the middle. So I'm like really fluffing these so that they have a nice lay. Once you figure out where you want everything to kind of wind up, that one can go a little lower right there. Then you're going to take your outside tails, you're going to run them through your fingers so that your ribbon can flow all the way down. Okay, I'm just taking my time and doing each one individually, even though I know the ones at the bottom you're not going to see that arc in them as well because we're laying it on a flat board, but we would want to be able to see all the ribbon. So if I was to turn this for you, that is your bow, just like so. Just like so. I'm trying to get that one to go way down. There we go. Gorgeous bow. We're going to take this off the opposite way we put it on. Trying to find out which way did I go. There we go. Move this out of the way. I'm going to prep my sign really quick, which is just going to be to take the twine off the back, add our business card, so we'll glue that on the back. It just helps customers to remember, hey, this is where you made your purchase from, in the event that you misplace the cards that come with the wreath. And the same thing, we're going to take our pipe cleaners in white, kind of make them into a little U. We are going to attach this using 1/4 inch staples, just like that. I usually give them a twist. That way when I go to pull them, they don't, like, I'm not pulling one leg of my pipe cleaner so I have one longer than the other. And the same on the opposite side. There's that. Little twist. Go ahead and put those in. I just put the glue on the staples just as extra added security. Not that it needs it, but I have my hot glue gun on, so why not? We'll bring this back over. Just like this. We'll go ahead and we'll add our sign, which is going to kind of be at an angle, kind of drawing it up closer to the top. Pretty much right there. So I'm going to pull my Deco mesh away, right where I am going to insert my sign, the pipe cleaners. And I try to bite off a pretty good chunk of the sign, the wires underneath. And I'm going to pull that not too tight and just one twist in case we need to move it. Okay. Up, moving my Deco mesh. Put this down. Put it in my other pipe cleaner. Hear a neighbor working. The good neighbor. The good neighbor. The neighbor that's on our side. Because they're always like, how are your bees doing this year? I mean, we have mason bees, but we don't have like BBs. Like honeybee hives. I love our mason bees. Okay. So I'm just fluffing my sign around the outside. I'm pulling some of my Deco mesh out so it can have a nice little fancy flourish around the edges, just like that. So it's kind of taking away that harsh straight edge, just kind of pulling some of this up and letting it kind of swirl right over the top. We're going to go ahead and put our bow down here at the bottom, right in here. And I happen to have a pipe cleaner right there. So we are going to utilize that space. Because that tells me, hey, here is your, here's the frame. This is all you need to attach it to. Okay, I've got it. So I'm going to reposition this really quick. Just kind of tucking some of my mesh down, pulling all my tails out. Making sure that I've got a metal bar between my ribbon And now I'm going to take some of these that are right here by my bow, my mesh. I'm just going to kind of tuck them down so that now my bow can lay flat and not be so like, oof, elevated way up in the air. Same thing here. I'm going to take these couple pieces right here, lift it up, tuck it under. So then I can lay my bow down, just like so. Pull these out. I'm like, there's just this, I'm like, why won't this velvet ribbon lay flat? It should be. It's got a lot of texture, and it was simply that there was a piece of Deco mesh causing it to stick straight up in the air. And then from here, we can, again, just have little flourishes right around our sign. Just like that. Grab it here at the bottom a little bit. Making sure all of our loops are open. So I'm bringing everything around so our bow can lay flush and flat, just right there, just like that. Okay. Options for this are as follows. For embellishment goes, I have a couple options. So I did find glitter ball ornaments that match the sign. So let me show you what I mean and how hard this is. Oops. So these are the color, believe it or not. This is the same color as what we have here. And so what I thought I might do is we can do it even up here. I have 3 of them. You see. I kind of put all these things in this little container so they wouldn't roll all over the table. So we do have one here, like in 3s. I kind of don't like the way that looks when I'm looking at you guys up in the thing, because they're not positioned equally. So I'm kind of like, this one's more farther down than this one would be. This one would have to go towards the sign more. So we have that, or we could remove these, giving you options. That's the only color that actually matches. We could add in these iridescent pearl color balls. It's like, I had one more. We could go with iridescent pearl, making sure that they all match in their positioning. So this one right to the center, these ones kind of off to the side. I'm trying to make the same hole for this one that this one has, so that those can go there. This one would still go closer to the sign. Okay. Once we glue them in place, they won't roll out of their position. So there's that. And then we could add little gold balls next to those. I only have 4 of them though, I think. So let me see. Where did the other ones go? I thought I put you all in here. Oh, have them right here. And we could go with like something like this. What do you guys think of that? I need your input. What do you guys think? Like the iridescent. Okay, come on. My computer just went into sleep mode. Okay. Hi Linda, or hi Lisa from England. I posted on Idaho Custom Raised Cat for the wreath I just made. I'm going to check that out. The bow's beautiful. Okay, so I need your input. What should we do about the embellishment? Should we leave the embellishments like that? I don't have any like medium size iridescent, and anything that I have is like a white. So like that kind of a white. Trying to get the other one out. I think we could do something like that, just so that it kind of elevates the sign. Do you like it? Okay, so you guys are like, yeah, we like it. So, and this is where I'm saying in this particular design, I have made it to where you don't have to just use it at Christmas. You could technically use it as Easter, because none of the ribbon that I have is really Christmas themed. It doesn't say Merry Christmas on it. I think the only thing that I have is on the 2.5 inch ribbon, there's some snowflake pattern, but that technically doesn't have to be. And so you guys are saying, yes, you like it. Okay, well, let's put these together then. I'm going to take these off. First thing, when you're attaching your ornament bulbs, take the little plastic thing off, because sometimes we'll put our glue on here, that gets glued in, and then the ball will separate from that, and then you'll only have this in there. So take it off. I like to frost it. I always say frost it like a little cupcake or like a little ice cream cone. Trying to get my glue. So Deco mesh and glue love each other. Like really love each other a lot. So whatever you put as far as your Deco mesh goes, it's going to really hang in there on that one quite a bit. So I'm going to do the white. And they're going to kind of be like, it's almost like Mickey ears, kind of. So I've got that one there. I'm looking at my touch point down here. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit off of the center, because it actually hits my sign just barely. So I want it to kind of be a frame for my sign. So like little Mickey ears, just like that. I'm going to do that over here so I can be sure that I have them all done the same way. Pull this out. I'm going to turn it right here and kind of create the same little gap that I had over there here. So nice little ice cream swirl, kind of like this side down. So I'm going to hold that in place, pop the top off my white, and the white's going to go facing down in the front. So just like so. And you can totally tell when you get it in position because it just hits the edge perfectly. And then this one's just going to be white with 2 gold. So just like that. Okay, I'm going to pull these out. We're going to add our white pearl. And these ornaments I got from Hobby Lobby last year. Lots of different ways you can embellish this one. You could add some gold leaf if you'd like. I'm going to kind of go right here in the center. Kind of going right over the L. Pull this one back a bit. Just like that. I kind of want them It's funny how you have to hold everything. And so that's what these ones are doing, is kind of bordering the edge of that sign right there. Holding those in place till they stay, so that they don't slide around. And then if you wanted, you could kind of come around the bottom outside, like in between, like the marble, and put a gold ball just below those. This one doesn't want to. I'm going to actually go right underneath so I can hit this one a little bit more to stay right where I want it to. It's like it's just moving around too much. There we go. Okay, let me show you what I meant. Let me grab them. So like these, you could add like little gold balls right below those, which I kind of like. It definitely, I'm going to do that. It definitely, like, it elevates it. It ties in the gold to the marble. So I'm taking the ones that look true gold. There's ones that are like a rose gold color, and the ones that are like the gold that we're using. So whichever one you pick, follow that one through all the way. Just a nice little embellishment to kind of tie that whole look all the way through. Okay. We have 2 more to do. Lift that up. Tuck that right underneath. We did that one, and there's one right underneath here. There we go. Okay. Right up underneath the lip. Tuck that right on the inside. And see, even if you had a big ball like that, I think I'm going to use that because it's the only one I have. I'm like, I only have this one. I'm like, sometimes, see, hang on to your ones. You never know when your singles will me exactly what you need. So I like that this one is a little larger for the center. I feel like that just really finishes the look. The gold glitter balls you can get from Hobby Lobby. Okay, I'm going to pivot you up and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the door. Oop, it just dropped. I got to fix that little drop. So we'll take this one down. If you want to see the tutorial on this one, go into my YouTube channel, click the live tab, and you'll see it's when gingerbread meets a nutcracker. So, and then here you can do it a couple different ways. You can do it sideways, like that is an option you have. You can go straight up and down if you want. You could do it off to the other side if you'd like. Make sure before you take all your photos that all of your little glue threads are out of the way, that you make sure all of your ribbon tails can all be seen. Sometimes when they're down here at the bottom, I like to just pull them forward so that, because it's a natural arch, so they're already going down. So I like to just kind of straighten these out so we can actually see what ribbons are underneath. But the ones off to the side, make sure all of your ribbon tails are straight, that you can see everything. Glue threads all the way through. Because believe it or not, they show up in your photos and you're like, what is that? How did I miss that? So just like that. Let's see, there's one, right? I just got it. Okay. Out. Same thing with up here. Make sure everything is visible and that it's straight when you take your photos. That's it. I'll zoom in for you guys. Hopefully the zoom ins will show what that sign really looks like. I wish I could see it. Let's see. Can we see it? Okay, I'm looking. Still, like, you can't quite see. It's like, because there's a shadow. Well, this, where it kind of looks like a shadow, this is actually the darker part of the sign. It's like really dark here and really light everywhere else. So it looks like there's a shadow, but there's not. Okay. You like the iridescent one, Cheryl? Yeah, the green ones, it does kind of throw you off. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining me. Come back next week where I will have 2 new designs for you. Tuesdays at 4 Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend and stay safe out.